Welcome back to Trending SCV, where you get the unfiltered commentary on what's going on here in and around the Valley. I'm Joe Messina. Jason, how was your weekend? Jason? Late? No, he's not late. Actually, he's not here. He is out being his rocket science self. He's out in Florida, having himself a good... Hey, look, I'm sorry. I can't let him get away with...
Okay, that was a good. Okay, that was a good one. That was great.
Because when he calls me 10 minutes before the show, he says, "Yeah, not so sure I'm going to make it. I'm in Florida." I said, "Yeah, unless we've got a teleporters, you're not going to make it." So, but anyway, no, he is. We all have jobs, so he's got to do his job, and I appreciate that with him very much. He'll be back with you on Friday, but you're stuck with me today, and we've got two great candidates for challengers on the Saugus School Board, and as you know, I feel I know I'm going to catch slack from city council members and somebody else, but the most important positions in this valley, I believe, are school board members. So it's I love this. Last week at the city council meeting, and public comment is great. I appreciate public comment. I think if any of you have been tracking me, I've always fought for people to be able to speak their mind. But what I don't like is when people show up. Now, there was I believe she was a young lady, showed up last week, and she talked about the Nazi signs, the SS signs, the whatever signs. And this is it. She said, "You've all seen them, you just ignore them." And I'm just I don't know her name, so I don't care how much trouble I get into, but I want to know how much LSD she's actually using. Because I've lived in this town 20 years. I've never seen white supremacist signs. I've never seen signs that promote Nazism. And this is the stuff that makes it hard for us to talk to each other. This is really, really terrible stuff. And when I watch what goes on Facebook, when I watch what people are saying about some of the candidates that are running, they don't know them. They've never spoken with them. They don't know them. And apparently now what the negative thing is, if you're a parent with children who thinks you can make a difference and you can do a better job, you're a racist, a fascist, a homophobe, a bigot. I got a whole list of things, but we only have an hour. And it's the wrong thing to do. I've been accused in the past of bringing, partisanship into the school board or bringing politics into the school. I've never done it. There's nobody can point to one thing I've done that is partisan. And there are other candidates, and there are other sitting school board members that are the same way. I like to bring up Sue Solomon. I'm sure she cringes at times, but I believe she's a lifelong Democrat. She loves the kids. She loves doing what's right for the kids. And her decisions she never goes to the party playbook to see what the mantra of the month is. She takes a hard look at what needs to go on, what needs to be done. And that's how she makes her decisions. And that's the only way you should be making your decisions, especially at the school board level. I won't speak for city council, water board, but I believe that what they're doing there too, to a big degree, is they're looking at what's best for the city. But when you have people coming up there and blatantly lying, that's what it is. I'm tired of these terms of misspeaks. I never really understood what a misspeak was. A pseudo-Freudian slip. That would be a misspeak. But when you get up there, and I would love to say, if I was a city council member, I'd say, "Excuse me, miss, would you please bring us pictures of that? If you're the only one seeing them, bring pictures." That's what I'd love to see. So again, yes, it's my momentary rant, because my attitude is, if you want to have dialogue, if you want to get up there and speak, and you're telling lies, and you're spinning around in circles, and you take the credibility away from others that are coming up. Now, you're allowed to say whatever you want to. You can get up there for, I think the city council gives you 3 minutes. Most of the school boards are 2 minutes. If you want to give a baking recipe on raisin bran muffins, that's fine. You can do that. But when you get up there and start not telling the truth, when you get up there and start misleading people as to what's going on in the city, somebody who's totally not engaged and tunes in for 30 seconds or so, that's where they get their info. We used to have a saying in the 70s, people are victim of their last headline. So the last headline they saw in the news, last headline they saw in the newspaper is what drove them in a direction. We were always a city, a town, whatever you want to call us. We worked well together. All of the agencies worked well together. It had nothing to do with white supremacy. It had nothing to do with homophobia or bigotry or anything along those lines. Does it exist? Listen, as long as you have humans walking around with a heartbeat, you will have homophobes, racists, bigots, or what have you. It's just there. And some people are taught to be that way, and some people find it disgusting. I find it disgusting. But I find not believing the same thing you do doesn't make me a racist. Not believing the same thing you do doesn't make me a bigot. Not believing the same way you do doesn't make me a homophobe. And those are where the conversations are these days. How about we talk about our kids and the education value and what needs to be done to keep those kids or help those kids do better in life as a whole. So I really find it amazing that we have devolved over the 20 years I've been here to where now we're calling candidates names instead of talking about what they can do, what they've done, and what they want to do. Anyway, Jason, any comments? Oh, okay, never mind. He's not here. Well, he's usually that quiet anyhow, so I don't know. But let me bring in one of the candidates for Saugus Union School District, who I wholeheartedly endorse, support, whatever. I don't mean whatever in a bad way. I just mean, take the broad brush and run with it, okay? So, Anna Griese, you are, I don't know what you did. Your districts confuse me. So what district are you in?
I am Saugus Union School District, and I'm running for Area 2. So
you don't have to mention the name, but what area is that? I mean, roughly.
So it is north of Copper Hill, past Seiko, and up through kind of the Mountain View communities, right. North Park, kind of over there.
And for some of you who don't know, who have sent emails, the California Voter Rights Act turned all the school boards, water boards, city council, well, the water boards were already there, but the city councils into voting areas. So they've now brought your area down to where, for instance, the school board, she will have certain schools, not all of them in her area. There's only certain people who will be able to vote for her, which I believe to be a travesty because you are voting on all kids. You are voting on things that will impact every child in the Saugus Union School District area.
And in talking with parents, a lot of parents don't know that. A lot of parents don't know that Saugus specifically is broken up into these 5 boundaries, right. And that you will only see the candidate that live in your boundary. Yeah. So that is, I think, really surprising and just eye-opening because I think everyone just figures, oh, I'm part of Saugus Union, I should be able to see everything, and that's not the case.
And I have people who think that they don't really understand because they think Saugus High School, Saugus Union, right. Saugus this, right. Saugus that. Yep. It doesn't work that way. The Heart District is all the junior highs and high schools in the valley, and we have, 4 other school districts. Yep. And every one of them, you should check them out online, people, so you have a little information as to who you're voting for and why.
Yeah, so families, my area schools are North Park, Foster's, and Mountain View. So if you live anywhere near those, you will see my name in your ballot in November.
Okay, so because you had nothing better to do, I would imagine. You were sitting around eating bonbons, watching soap operas. She said, hey, the school board thing kind of intrigues me. Tell me why you're running.
So I'm running because of really what has been going on the last 2 years within our district. I, like everyone else, I am a full-time working mom. My husband works full-time. So, we were really entrusting our child, really kind of, this is what's happening at Saugus, and this is the best educational setting. I trust the teachers. I trust what's going on. And then, this past January, I decided to go to my first school board meeting after someone said, you should really come and see what's happening. And it was really eye-opening. It was packed. There were a lot of concerned parents there. There were kids there. And, parents one by one were just going up and talking. And just the reaction that they were getting from the board members itself, they were not paying attention. They were on their phones half the time, not even looking at the person that was speaking. I actually spoke the second time. Nobody followed up with me. Nobody sent me an email asking me, hey, what happened? What were the specifics? What was going on? And it was like, this just cannot be the way that it should be. So I put my hat in the ring. I said, I know I can do a better job based on my experience with working, and I know what has been happening the last 2 years. So I have firsthand knowledge of what was going on for distance learning, what was happening with some of the policies they were trying to implement, and I was like, I know I can do better. I know that, no one up there is asking questions. I know that I can ask the questions that parents want answered.
Well, what's interesting is you hit on it too, which is for years, Saugus Union, they couldn't get 5-10 people to show up. And finally, I always said that COVID-19 was like a godsend because all of a sudden parents got to hear and see what was going on. And for the longest time, because the valley's been, safe and clean, you drop your kid off at school, it loves going to school. The schools are clean, they're coming home, and everything's wonderful. So you really never really think about it until you start seeing what was happening during that. And your eye opener at the meeting was looking at those school board members and saying, they're not even listening to us. It's kind of like a yeah.
And they don't understand, they don't have skin in the game, because none of our current board members have kids within Saugus. So how could they know? How could they understand that when my husband and I are at home with our daughter doing distance learning, how could they know that she only got an hour a day of school? They wouldn't, because they're not there day in and day out. They don't see the frustrations. They don't see how hard it is and how difficult it is for parents to do this. So it is time for all of us parents to speak up and to be involved, because that's how things change, and that's how we're going to change Saugus.
So give me 2 or 3 of your platform items that you're stepping out on.
So the number one and most important is the parental engagement. If we do not have parents engaged and providing their input to the district, nothing is going to change, and we just won't see the results that we want. So number one is getting on that board to have a parent's perspective and have parental representation on the board is by far the number one thing. The second thing is really transparency and collaboration. So when I'm looking at these new policies or programs that they're trying to implement, and they're providing the information to the public, there's nothing in there. There's nothing in there for them to really understand what is the meat of what we're trying to accomplish. So by me being in there, because of my work background, I'm able to be really detailed, very clear and concise with the information that parents are really wanting. They want the best information to make the best, assumptions for their kids and the best decisions. And that's really what we need to change, is better communication, full transparency, and really everything that we do. But it's really about the policies that we're trying to implement. And really the third one is, school safety, right? Like, we all want schools to be safe. And it's looking at holistically, what does that look like, and what is for the benefit of the community, and what makes the most sense from a district level, from a classroom level, from a teacher level, and just making sure that we're looking at it holistically across the board about what is the right thing that we should be doing versus just heading down one path. And again, providing that information up to the parents so they feel like they're a part of the conversation and not excluded.
One of the things I talk about on a regular basis that people don't really put together is, with all the school boards, we all feed into each other. We get all the elementary school kids into the Heart District. How important is it that we maintain I don't want to say daily, but a very active role with each other, working with each other and working to maintain, a single cause, which is to make sure our kids are ready?
I mean, it's super important. It's not, Saugus or any of the elementary school districts shouldn't have that kind of tunnel vision, right? Because they are the feeder schools to junior highs and high schools. Mm-hmm. It's imperative that we have that direct line of communication with the high school, with the Heart District, because our kids are going in there. My daughter will be there in 2 years. I want to make sure that she is set up for success in order to go to junior high and experience the things that, she's going to experience. But it's also important to have that commonality, because it's the values, it's what the community needs, and it's what our kids need. So to have varying points of view, I think, is detrimental. And the more that we can be on the same page between the districts, we live in a really small town, and we've got, to your point, I have 4 other elementary school districts and then the Heart District. It's imperative that we're all on the same page mm-hmm. together, because we live in one community.
So with newer people to get on boards, one of the things that I personal opinion, I think they have a problem with is the trustee really only has one employee. That's the superintendent. Mm-hmm. And I find that some trustees think that they're managers, and they go out to schools and they kind of, I won't say dictate, but they point out things that they think the principal should be doing. Yep. What do you think the role of a trustee is? So
the role of the trustee is, you are the representative of that community, of that boundary. And my job when I'm elected is to get the feedback from the school sites and say, what is working, what's not working, what can we do better, what's working at your school site that we can implement at other school sites, and bring that information back to the entire board and to the superintendent. It's not about me and what I want. It's about what my schools want that I'm representing. I am merely a representative here to do a job that they elected me to. So I want to give the whole heart of what this community is and figure out, how is it consistent from one boundary to the next boundary, and how can we as a whole have that unity that I think Saugus really has been missing the last couple of years, and just bring everybody together.
It's imperative. I've always felt like, and I do, and I think that's how I hooked up with a lot of you guys, was you reach out to the community, and when trustees start saying things like, I believe, I think, I want to see happen, now you're in trouble, because really what a trustee should start off with, hey, I've met with this group of parents,
Right.
I've met with this group of parents, I've been to your point, and this is what the community is asking for. What can we do to make that happen? We've forgotten that.
Right.
When we get when they get elected, they go, oh, I'm here, I've arrived.
Right.
And that's the wrong thing to do. Okay, so you're part of the Family First group. Okay, it's our schools, our children, our tax dollars, and parents need to have a voice. Why did you get involved in that?
Because I just couldn't believe what I was witnessing. I really couldn't. Just wholeheartedly, I was like, there's no way that I live in this community and this is the way that parents are being treated. I'm one of those parents. I am one of those parents that no one is listening to me. No one is giving me solutions, calm solutions. And I know that I can be that voice for parents that are working full-time, that don't have the time to go to school boards. I can be that voice for parents that maybe feel excluded or don't know that there's literally hundreds of other people that think the same way, but they just feel they're not brave enough to come out and say it. So that's why I'm getting involved, because I know that I can do a better job than what we currently have.
Okay, what's your website? And what do you need?
My website, so head to electannagriese.com. So more information on myself, ways to volunteer. What I need is 1 year vote, but also I need your money.
People think that the post office just says to you, oh, you're running for office? You look like a nice person.
No.
I'll just go ahead and mail this stuff out for you.
It is all about name recognition, and name recognition takes money. It is the mailers that people get. It is the flyers that are being handed out at school functions for visibility. It is the palm cards that people are getting on their doors. It's holding events so that we can really get the word out that we need parental representation on this board.
Right, and so spell your last name for people, because
I think it's like the football player. It's Griese.
Okay, so I just want to make sure people don't realize. I won't say it, because if I say it, then it'll get stuck
Like
on the one
Grease,
that I
like Grease Fire.
Right, like that or the movie. I don't know.
Right.
Whichever one. All right, Ann, it's been a pleasure having you here. I really
Thanks for
appreciate
having
your time. People, get to know the candidates. Forget the letters that come, Republican, Democrat. I'm just going to say it. Get to know the candidates. Know where their heart's at. Know what they're willing to do for you. You're one of the few that I've seen come up in the ranks, and you're actually willing to work. There's a lot of people that want it, but they're not really working at it.
Got to put in the work if you want to see the change.
That's right. All right. Well, thanks for being with me today. We'll be back in a few minutes. People don't go far. A lot more coming up. Got another candidate, but this one for Newhall School District. Newhall. You know that. You know there's a Newhall School District, right? Yeah. No? Not sure?
No, I don't.
All right. Let's go to break. We'll make some money and we'll come back. We are back. If you just tuned in, you're listening to Trending SCV with Joe Messina and Jason Gibbs. Hey, Jason, how we doing?
Hey, I'm Jason Gibbs.
Okay. You caught me off
Okay,
on that one.
I know I caught you off guard on that one. I love you, Jason. I love you.
For it. I want him to call. I told him he's in Florida. I think he's at Cape Canaveral, but I would love for him to call me from the deck, way up top there, and
yeah, he's like, oh, it's nice over here. You see just a bunch of
then you do
debris.
one of those things like, hey Joe, how you doing?
He's falling. Oh no.
But no, he'll be back on Friday. So if you're hating me and missing him, he'll be back Friday. We'll both be here together, and hopefully somebody will bring donuts. You had the donuts in the room back there. They're from Friday.
Every Friday. Every Friday.
It doesn't help me on Monday. Maybe you should go get them for lunch. I need the energy, dude. All right, so we've been talking about education. Don't feed your kid donuts before you send them to school. We've been talking about education and what for a valley our size, I think we have a little over 300,000 people valley-wide. And in that, I think we have a total of 5 school districts. And some of you, I know you don't know that. You don't understand how the school districts work and how things, city council, water board, and the whole 9 yards. So you really should kind of get involved, get engaged. And I don't mean you have to go to every board meeting, but if you have kids in school, wouldn't you want to know who's on the board, who's representing you, and the areas that they represent? I happen to be on a Hart School Board, and people think that I somehow have something to do with Saugus Union because their kids go to Saugus High School, and you're going, well, no, I'm sorry, but they're broken out a different way. So I've got Suverna Mistry with me. She is running for the Newhall School District, another school district here in town. And why don't you tell people what your district number is and what schools that encompasses?
Sure. So my name is Suverna Mistry. I am running for Newhall School District Trustee Area 2. That includes part of the Stevenson Ranch Elementary School, Oak Hills Elementary, and Meadows. And that area for Meadows would be like the Summit area, as well as the area surrounding the Meadows Elementary School.
You would be replacing Donna Rose, right?
Yes,
Correct?
so the incumbent Donna Rose chose not to seek re-election. She is endorsing me for this very important role, so I am excited about that.
Yeah, Donna was a great trustee, and I mean that sincerely. She came from another area. She came in here. Another one I talked earlier about how, her heart was for the kids. Her heart was to make sure the kids got the best education they could get. So it wasn't an ideological thing for her. So you've got big shoes to fill when you get on there.
Yes, absolutely. I've communicated with Donna for the last 2 years, and we've gotten to know each other well. And she was always very well. She researched all of the issues, and she always presented facts and logic, and all of her reasoning and all of her decisions on the board were absolutely for the students, and I want to continue that tradition.
So I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Anna, because I'm sure you weren't sitting around the couch having bonbons and just kind of watching soap operas, and you went, hey, school board's a nice place to be.
No, absolutely not. So, my life dream was not to be a school board member or a candidate by any means. So, like a lot of parents, the last 2 years have been eye-opening for us with the pandemic and the restrictions and all the crazy politics that have gone on in our public schools. I have been an advocate for the last 2 years for our students. I fought hard to get our schools open. I fought hard to restore normalcy for our children. And I did that at not only my school board level, but the county and state level as well. And so it's important for parents to have that voice on the school board, but also to have school board members that are willing to advocate for your schools at the county and the state level as well, because that's where those policies are being implemented.
Mm-hmm. And we don't have as much power at the board level to think that we have. Now, you said the same thing Anna said from a standpoint of, going into the COVID-19 thing. It opened up a lot of parents' eyes. I mean, general thought, what were you thinking before that? Schools are clean, kids are coming home safe.
Right, absolutely. My family, as well as so many families in Santa Clarita, we moved to Santa Clarita for the schools, right? Mm-hmm. We know our school. My children attend Stevenson Ranch Elementary, which is a great school, and they were taken care of. The academics were solid, the teachers were great, the principal was great, no issues whatsoever. I didn't have any reason to attend board meetings. I didn't have any reason to know who my superintendent was back then. I've gotten to know all of them. I have cell phone numbers. No, I'm kidding.
more than you want to sometimes. But it's true. You really do need. I always tell parents, whether you're involved on a daily basis or not, you should at least at some point in time when your kids start going to a school, check out the principal, check out the school board, because they change over a period of time. And your point is they don't keep up, and that's right. But you should know who your representative is. You're
right,
voting
absolutely.
for them. Send them an email when you have a concern or a question. If they don't respond, you don't vote for them next time.
Right. So up until the pandemic, I was involved, obviously, on the school site basis. I was actively involved in the PTO. I serve on our school site council currently. I volunteered in my children's classroom. So I knew our principal, I knew our teachers, but at the district level, I didn't know our superintendent and I didn't know our governing board members at all.
Did you, and this isn't to throw anything negative out there, but did you really understand what a school board did before you got involved?
I knew that there was some sort of general oversight, but in terms of...
Like most people, yeah.
Right. I mean, you know somebody's in charge, right? You elect these representatives, so you know they're in charge.
You hope.
But how that dynamic plays with county and state policies, I wasn't unaware of.
Yeah.
I thought they had more control than they do.
Yeah, and it's funny because in other states, they do. The education board is actually the education board. They decide on everything. Where in the state of California, I always joke that 85% of what we do is we rubber stamp what the state sends down to us, if you would. We tell them, yes, we've done what you've told us to do. We've done what's in ed code. So it's tough. People don't really get that. They think they can come in, and you've seen it with the parents coming in. They think they can make their statement. There's 20 of them there. We should change it, end of discussion. And sometimes it flies right in the face of a law that we can't change and we can't do much with. That's why it's so important, right?
Right, and I think a lot of parents have realized that, especially the ones that have been speaking out at school boards like myself. And we want to make that change. And if we are on the school board, we want to have that voice of advocacy for our schools and for our students at the state level.
All right, so you got give me 3 things, 3 platform items that you want to push out here while you have the time.
So absolutely, my number one priority is to put students first and keep politics out of our schools. That is absolute number one. Parental involvement is huge at Newhall School District. They are very respectful of parents' positions, and they do listen, unlike the other school district we just heard about. I want to keep that, and I want to maintain that, and I also want to be a stronger voice for the parents at the state level. And finally, it's on everybody's mind. Every parent is worried about school security, and that's obviously I have researched what the Hart District has done, and obviously you are involved in all of that, and it's absolutely amazing. And I feel like the elementary schools do need some more help in terms of getting their schools secure, and I think they can work with our local sheriff's department as well as Hart District, because I think they're doing a fantastic job right now.
You know, I was talking earlier about people who get out there and spread misinformation, all about the candidates and about the school districts or what have you. And when we had the tragedy at Saugus High School, we had security experts across the country that were amazed at the plans that we had in place and what have you. But I always say that the bad guy only has to get it right once. We have to get it right 100% of the time.
Absolutely.
And we all need to work together to help understand how to keep our kids safe. And I'll talk more in a little bit about our security thing that's coming down just in a couple of days here, Wednesday night, that the district is putting out and pulling parents in. I'd like to see you there as well.
Yes, I'm absolutely planning on attending.
Good.
And I'm encouraging our school superintendent to be there as well.
Good, really good. Okay, so you heard me ask Anna. We have our parents first or family first group of candidates, and part of that is they're your kids, your schools, your tax dollars, and parents need to have a voice, and they need to feel like their voice is welcome. Why did you get involved in this group?
So it is very important to me that parents retain their voice at the school board level and at the state level. I appreciate the platform, and I appreciate parents all across, not just from our valley, but all across the state of California, coming forward and stepping up for parental engagement, parental involvement, and parental choice.
Yeah, and it is. It's I feel bad sometimes because parents will come up, and you've seen it because you've been going to these meetings, and at the Hart District, for instance, they will come up and demand that we do certain things. And we don't have the authority to do certain things. And they think that that's an out. They think that's just us wiggling away from it. And I get it. I understand the frustration. How do you do parent advocacy? How are you going to help educate the parents as to the power that they do have and how to exercise that power properly?
Well, I think the more parents that get involved, the better. So at least with my school district, a lot of parents kind of relied on me to be their voice, and they didn't step up. And I'm only one person. There's just so much I can do. But I was able to effectuate change, not just at our school board level, but at the county and the state level as well. And I think that's really important. And so people need to know you can't just go in and scream at your school board members day in and day out, right? Joe, you've listened to so many of them. You have to know where to put your efforts and advocacy, and you have to do it effectively. And I have been successful in doing that for the last 2 years.
Well, you were part of the team that inundated, if you would, the county with emails, phone calls, and faxes, which is the way to do it. You put so much pressure on them that I will tell you that Dr. Farrar, on a Thursday, she was dead set that next week she was coming out and there was going to be a mask mandate again. And then when she showed up at the Tuesday press conference, you could see she was not happy about her own announcement, which was no, there would be no mask mandate to speak of. And the moms did that. The parents did that. Your group, yours and other groups along with you, did that. So there was an effect, was there?
Right. It absolutely took the voice of so many parents to be persistent to make that change.
Hundreds of parents. It was fantastic.
And we were relentless. I mean, we had so much information about her, and we have been listening to her media reports for the last, I don't know, a year and a half, and it's the same thing, doom and gloom, day in and day out. And you listen to like the doctors at USC, and they were just saying it's fine, everything's fine. And so who do you listen to? Who do you trust, right? At that point.
And the damage done to those kids, it's going to be a decade before you turn that around. And we need people like you on the boards that are willing to push for programs that'll help turn that around.
Absolutely, we need to take care of the kids that have faced learning loss, mental illness, social, emotional development issues, as well as the kids that are doing fine, right? We need to make sure that they continue on their path, and also the kids that are doing like the high-level GATE programs. We need to make sure that those programs are strong as well, that we don't lose those kids.
Some kids did really well. I have 4 children, and I can tell you 2 of them would have easily breezed through the distance learning. They were self-starters, and they could do the work on their own. I had 2 that would have had some real challenges with it. So I always joke that we're doing education like we did 200 years ago, and I do agree with some of the people that have stepped up and said, we need to have younger people on these boards. And I don't think we need to have younger people on these boards just because they're younger. I think we need to have younger people on these boards because they've been exposed to more of the technologies and the different ways of learning, and they'll bring that to the board. I mean,
I
absolutely have no ageism
agree.
Here, I'll tell you.
Right, no ageism.
So anyway, all right. Where do people get more information about you?
So I am on www.mistry, M-I-S-T-R-Y, 4nsd.com. I'm also on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Cool.
Mistry for NSD.
And I'll say it because I can't get you guys to do this. They need money, and they need your votes, and they need you to tell your friends about how we need these people.
Right.
On the board.
I'm not funded by any sort of special interest group, so I do need parents to step up. I do need communities to step up. We need to keep our Santa Clarita schools strong, and the way to do that is to get myself and other parent-friendly candidates elected.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you came today, and have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you on the board. I'll probably come to your swearing in.
Thank you, Joe. It was great.
Right. We'll be back in a few minutes. You're listening to Trending SCV here on your hometown station, KHTS. We are back, Trending SCV. You're listening to on KHTS, your hometown station, where you can check in for your local news, weather, and sports, any kind of traffic issues, any kind of emergencies in here. It's blessed. Okay, yeah, that's good too. Best place to tune in. Always a pleasure. AM 1220 and FM 98.1 here in beautiful. Well, I guess this is downtown Santa Clarita, right? Downtown Santa Clarita Valley.
I'd say downtown, yeah.
Coming to you from downtown. It sounds like it's downtown LA, whatever. But anyhow. So some of you, again, I hate to use the word ignorance because it's not really as negative as some people take it, but we're ignorant to a lot of things in life, right? So, your kids are here, you live here, you came here for the school systems, you came here because the cities were safe. Recently, we've had an uptick in crime. Everybody has. I don't know how you combat that when you keep defunding the police, but that's a story for another day. But sincerely, people, pay attention to your school board members. Find out who they are. Find out what they voted on, what kind of programs they're putting in place and holding up for your children to move on in life with. Because it's really important, the young kids, it's very important that the young kids really get, young children, kids, whatever you want to call them, the children really get educated properly. And we're hearing about all these social things that are being taught in school, being brought into school. And yet California runs about 42nd or 47th, depending on what you look at when it comes to education. It's not acceptable. We used to be in the top 5 on a regular basis. We need to get back to that. People moved here. People have moved here from other parts of California because it's safe. It's a clean community. We have a great city council. We have a city council that cares for what goes on in the city. We have a water board members that care that we have clean and safe water and plenty of water. We'll talk about that at some other time. And the high school. Now, many of you don't know that the William S. Hart High School District does not have just Hart High School. that it has control over. It has control of all the junior highs and high schools in the Santa Clarita Valley, with the exception of Castaic Junior High School. That's the only junior high school that we don't have control of. We have 22,000 kids in the district. So we're watching over and we're having to deal with and having to make sure that we're keeping 22,000 kids well educated and safe. And the other school districts feed into I think we have like 56,000 children in the valley as a whole. Those are a lot of kids to watch over. Those are a lot of children to keep safe. And parents, step up. Have a voice. Not a screaming voice, but have a voice. Come to the board meetings. Ask them what they're doing to keep your kids safe. Every district should have every school should have a safety plan that they can follow in the middle of an emergency or in time. An emergency doesn't have to be the worst. I'm not talking about just a shooter. Some of you have heard of lockdowns and soft lockdowns, and you get nervous. I guess I'll go down this road with you for a minute. And the lockdowns are done to keep your kids safe. Soft lockdowns are done usually because there's an issue in the area, not necessarily at the school itself, but in the area. So know the difference between the two. I get it. I have children. I have grandchildren in the districts. And you do get a little anxious when you hear that something's going down. But would help a lot more if you had some of the information you needed. You knew what a soft lockdown was. You knew what a hard lockdown was. You understood the role of the teachers in all of this. You know, I get calls when we do have these soft lockdowns or we have lockdowns, period. I will get calls from parents who want me to try to get their child out of a classroom because they want to take them home where they feel they'll be safer. Well, how much safer would your child be if you're trying to get them out in the middle of the chaos going on a school campus? We need to learn to trust the sheriff's department. We need to learn to trust the administrators. I'm not saying they're infallible, but there's a plan. There's been drills that have gone on these campuses. We've got to have a little trust for them. We've got to allow them to clear the area before they let your children go. I know it's tough. Like I said, I got grandchildren. I have children. I remember what it was like. But let's trust in them to do the right thing. If you find something that's off at a school grounds, maybe you find a gate that's unlocked on a regular basis that shouldn't be, and there's nobody monitoring that gate. Bring it up. Go to a school board meeting. Talk about it. I would ask you to talk to the principal first, and then take it from there. Now, everybody's got safety concerns, and I don't blame you. In today's world, you don't know what somebody might use to try to get to one of your children. The Heart District, if you head over to the heartdistrict.org, and on August 31st, starting at 6 o'clock, we're going to have a safety symposium. I've been pushing the symposium for a while to make sure, because I hear parents say, it doesn't seem like you guys are doing anything. It doesn't seem like you guys have changed anything to keep our kids safe. And my standard answer, which I believe to be truth, is I'm not going to give you the combination for the safe. I don't even know who you are. I don't know if your kids go to that school. If you have concerns about safety issues, make an appointment with the principal at that school. If you feel something isn't being done right, or you just feel like you don't have enough information, make an appointment with the principal at the school. But here's your opportunity on the 31st of August at 6 o'clock. Head over to heartdistrict.org to get all the information on it, where we're going to have a presentation as to what we are doing. We're going to have people of authority. We're going to have the sheriff's department there, and you will know what the process is without giving away the secrets, but you'll know the process when you have an issue or an emergency on a Heart District campus. But what I think is even better about all of this is we're going to have breakout sessions with the parents. So if you show up, understand that you'll have the ability to talk about some of the issues that you see going on, what you'd like to see happen. Some of your concerns, you might find that there's other parents there that have the same concerns you do. You might find that there's administrators at the table you're sitting with that will help you work through what we are doing. And you will have a say. This is, I got to tell you guys, I'm pretty rough around the edges, and I'm okay with that. And I had a parent recently approach me and let me have it, what she felt wasn't being done or not being done. And I asked her, I said, I've been on the board 13 years. I've never seen you. I've never received an email from you. And the first thing you're going to do is come up and start yelling at me about what we're not doing. Well, that doesn't work. I get the emotions. I get you're upset. But there's 5 trustees on my board. There's 25 trustees valley-wide. Get some relationships with them. Reach out to them. Ask them questions. I jokingly said it earlier, but I'll say it again. If you have trustees that are ignoring you, don't vote them back in. It's really that simple. If they're not doing a job that you hired them to do, if you would, don't bring them back. But understand what they're doing. Don't think they're not doing something just because you're not getting the process or the procedure that you wanted put in place. When we had the tragedy at Saugus High School, a lot of parents wanted metal detectors. We had security experts. I'm talking about from Secret Service, FBI. I mean, people that are in this on a daily basis. The metal detectors do nothing. For all intents and purposes, they do nothing. There were so many other things that we learned later on about what to look for. You know, the things that you would have thought to look for in a child that's having issues, it was just amazing. And on top of all of that, the one thing that they drove home and many others drove home is when you talk about the preventative, what you could do to prevent these kind of things. And it's not just school shootings. I'm talking about other violence that takes place on campus. Is it has to be a team effort. Talk to your kids about the issues that are going on campus. You know, in my day, the old man that I am, we never wanted to rat anybody out. That's what they used to call it. And nowadays, they don't want to stigmatize their friends. They don't want somebody to be separated out as having issues, having problems, or what have you. Talk to your kids and tell them they're not ratting anybody out. They're not stigmatizing somebody if they do it the right way. You could be preventing a tragedy. Matter of fact, you could be preventing some young man or woman from taking their own life because you don't know what these kids are going through. You have no clue at all. You get to the right people, between the teachers, the staff, the administrators, you should be able to make a difference. And I think that's what we all want. We want our kids to be safe. Let's come back to education from a curriculum standpoint. You parents have a say in curriculum to a degree. Now, most schools, curriculum is pushed down from Sacramento. They give us a bunch of books to choose from. We choose the books and go forward from there. But you have a right to opt out of some of these classes and or some of these things that are happening inside the class. And there's nothing wrong with that. Don't let them tell you that your kid will be stigmatized or he'll look a little weird. Stick by your principles. Teach your children how to stick by their principles. Stick by the things that they believe in. That's part of what our children, they're being bullied in many ways to fall in line or else. That is not the way to do it. You want people to follow rules, follow laws because they believe in them, because they understand that they're best for them. But when you're bullying kids and others into towing the line because it's what you believe to be truth, that's not right. It's not right in any way. So when you're checking out these trustees, when you're checking out these candidates, pick up the phone and call them. Send them an email. Tell them you want to talk with them. Find out where they stand on these issues that are important to you. You know, reading, writing, arithmetic. I don't want an engineer that, that knows what bathroom to use. I want an engineer that really understands math, science. I want to drive over that bridge, go in that building, and know I'm going to be safe. I personally don't think that's the job of the schools. Moral values should be taught at home. The schools should be teaching these kids how to interact with each other and reading, writing, arithmetic. That's kind of where I'm coming from. Anyway, I'm Joe Messina, your host. Jason Gibbs, can we say he's on vacation or just absent? I don't know.
I'm on vacation.
Actually, when he's here, sometimes he's absent, but that's a story for another day, too.
Oof.
So, anyway, Jason Gibbs and I will be back with you on Friday. You are listening to Trending SCV here on your hometown station, and I got to tell you, it's a great place to tune in. Great shows all week long. News, weather, sports. You're stuck in traffic, tune into the station. AM 1220, FM 89.1, your hometown station. I'm Joe Messina. Hey, have a great and blessed rest of the day.